Our digital tools can make hard things easy. That's what we're talking about today. Hi, this is Frank Buck, and this is the place to be if you want to get organized and make it look easy. Today, I'm thinking especially about the college student who will resume classes in not much more than a month. There's a long-standing debate about whether it's better to take notes by hand or take notes digitally. Certainly, it's easier to clean up your notes, rearrange information, and share information when it's digital. But if you feel more comfortable taking notes by hand, my message for you today is this: you don't have to give that up. I'm going to be talking about Evernote. I've been using Evernote heavily since about 2012, and in the last several years, it's gotten nothing but better. And if there is a downside, Evernote is on the expensive side. If you're looking for free, look elsewhere. There are competent free options. But if you're looking for something that's worth it, I don't think there's anything better on the market. So if your information is important and you want a system that's going to help you every single day, to me, the investment is worth it. So let's move on with setting up your shared note taking system. I want you to imagine for a moment that you and a friend are both in the same class. Let's also say you're both taking notes by hand, and your goal is to later have a good set of digital notes that the two of you can share. So here's what you'll do ahead of time. First, we're going to get organized. Each of you needs an Evernote account. Each of you needs a notebook for each class you're taking. But before you create these notebooks, I want you to stop and think about the sharing. For example, if you and your friend are both in the same English 101 class, only one of you needs to create a notebook in Evernote. To take things a step further, if there are, say, three friends all taking that same class, only one person actually creates the notebook. The secret is in the sharing. Whoever creates the notebook will right click on the name of the notebook and choose Share Notebook. Add the email addresses of the friends with whom you want to share. So when you get through, each friend will have a notebook for every class they're taking. In some cases, a notebook will be shared with no one. If you're the only one of your friends that's taking that particular class, you'll create the notebook. You'll be creating things in that notebook. You're totally responsible for that notebook. In other cases, one friend will own the notebook and share it with others. And in still other cases, a friend will be looking at the notebook someone else created and shared with them. So all friends should be granted rights to edit, because half the fun is going to be that everyone who shares the notebook can make great notes. We all share in the outcome. So next thing we're going to do, we've all got the notebook. So we have a notebook for each class we're taking. Either we created that notebook or someone else shared it with us. Next, we're going to organize those notebooks into what's called a stack. Each friend will want to make a stack. A stack's no more than a group of notebooks. I would want to have a stack for each semester. That way, all of the notebooks for the classes that I'm taking right now are going to be together. All of the notebooks from the classes from last semester will be together, and so forth. All I have to do is right click on a notebook and from the menu select Add to Stack. If this is the first notebook I'm adding to this semester's stack, I'll choose the option New Stack and give the stack a name. I would name mine something like Fall 2025. Now go through and add the other notebooks to that same stack. And in the left panel, you'll now see the name of the stack. Click the drop down, and you'll see the name of each notebook for this semester. So now everything is in one nice, neat place. Now it's time to go to class. You and your friend have your pen and paper in hand. You both take notes just as I would have taken notes many, many years ago. When classes are over for the day, the magic happens. It's time to turn the handwritten notes from that English 101 class into digital notes in Evernote. Here's the process. Open your English 101 notebook in Evernote. Create a new note. Give it a title that includes the date of the lecture and perhaps a few keywords about the major things the professor discussed. So just have a descriptive title, in other words. It doesn't matter if you're doing this on your computer or on your phone. Either way, the information is going to sync back and forth. If you've shared this notebook with your friend, this notebook is now already created in your friend's notebook. Now we're going to start taking pictures of these handwritten pages and transcribing those pages into editable digital text. Pick up your phone, open Evernote, and go to the note for today's lecture. You'll see an icon in that Evernote note that looks like a little camera. Tap it and take a picture of that page. While you're still in the same note, hit the camera icon again and take a picture of the next page. Continue until you've taken pictures of all of the pages. Your friend does not have to do any of this. Only one person takes these pictures. Now for this next part, it's going to be easier to go back to your computer. Pull up the note for this lecture, click on one of the pictures, and you'll see a little button at the top that says transcribe. Click it. Evernote will now transcribe the handwritten page into editable digital text. Continue doing the exact same thing with the other pages. I'm going to show you an example. So if you're listening to the podcast, if you're listening to the audio only, go over to either the YouTube channel to watch the video or go to the blog post and so that you can watch the video. I'm actually surprised at how well what you're going to see turned out. I went back to an old video that I'd made several years ago entitled, How I Memorized 57 Pages of Notes in One Day. That video's gotten well over 1 million views. And the reason I bring that up and the reason I went back to that video is because I did include in that video pictures from an old college notebook. So as I was preparing this video, I really took the easy way out and simply went back to that video so I could do a quick screen grab of a couple of pages from the notebook. So already the quality is not all that great. We're already a generation down. But just to show you what Evernote was able to do, I pasted that screen grab into an Evernote note and clicked the transcribe button. And so now I want you to compare the results with the handwriting. Now, you might even have trouble deciphering the handwriting, but Evernote did an excellent job. Now, sure, you'll want to do some formatting, such as adding line breaks so that you have a nice, neat outline form. But what you're not going to have to do is retype all these pages the way I had to do years ago. Now, up to this point, it's been a one-person job. We've taken one person's handwritten notes. We've taken pictures of the notes, transcribed them into editable digital text. So obviously, whichever friend did the best job of taking notes in class is the better set of notes that you're going to want to take the pictures of. So now let's clean up those notes, and both of you can work on this at the same time. You both open your laptops. You both open that note from today's lecture, and you both start cleaning things up at the same time. You see, everything synced, so the transcription that one did is now there in the other's notebook. So you both got exactly the same thing. Now you can both start work on cleaning up the notes. You'll see each other's name and cursor in your note as you're working. So you're both working at the same time. You and your friend can handle things any way you like. You may want to be working in the same note at the same time. Or you may have an agreement where today one of you handles the entire job and the next class meeting the other handles the entire job. Or perhaps you're taking two classes together. You're stronger in one subject. Your friend is stronger in the other subject. You handle all the responsibility for one class while your friend has all the responsibility for the other class. Any way you slice it, both of you are going to wind up with the same great set of notes that are digital. And because you're sharing the load, it's easier for both of you. Now, could you have three, four, five friends all in this group? Absolutely. If you've got that many friends that are all in that same class together, yeah, share the load. But at the same time, the more people you have involved, the more time you're going to need to spend planning things out on the front end so that you don't wind up with a mess on the back end. Now, throughout this video, I've been talking about turning handwriting into digital text. But there's nothing to say that you might not rather take your laptop to class and take the notes there so that the notes start in a digital fashion. If so, both of you open the same shared notebook. One of you creates a note. It automatically shows up in the notebook for the other person. This is assuming that you've got a good Wi-Fi connection. During class, you can both work on the same note at the same time. Maybe one of you keys in information and the other's responsible for doing edits along the way and catching important points that maybe one of you missed. Then after class, cleaning up your notes becomes a shared responsibility. I don't care whether you're taking notes by hand or taking them digitally, your notes are a draft. They're going to be things that you seemed important at the time, but when you get to the end of the lecture, you realize that that was just an entertaining little bird walk that the professor went on. And at the same time, they're going to be things that you didn't quite grasp during the lecture. In the privacy of your own dorm or apartment, you'll consult the textbook or the internet and clean up the misconceptions so that in the end, you both have that great set of notes. And the great set of notes you have is also going to be the same set of notes your friend has. Now, you're taking this draft and you're spending some extra time that's actually going to save you time later. Because what we find is that most of the forgetting happens that first day. You're interacting with that material again the same day. It lessens the forgetting. You're interacting with the notes and reorganizing those notes further, sort of gets that more in a long-term memory. And when it comes time to study for the test, you'll find that you don't have to study as much because one, you've got a great set of notes to study from. And secondly, you have not forgotten the same amount of material that somebody else did who simply took the notes and never looked at them again. Did the professor include a PowerPoint presentation or a PDF as part of the lecture? Great. One of you needs to drag that information into the note for that lecture. It now becomes part of the note and becomes available to anyone with whom the note and notebook is shared. And now for some closing thoughts. The little bit of time that you're going to spend on the front organizing this is going to save you countless hours throughout the semester, the next semester, and the rest of your college career. And when it comes time, if you're in a master's program and you've got those comprehensive exams at the end, having these great notes all the way along is going to make that process so much easier. I want to wish you the best of luck with this coming semester. This has been Frank Buck helping you get organized and make it look easy.